This woman really just tried to destroy Metro Boomin's career, but she failed miserably. First off, this is Metro Boomin. You've probably heard of him. He's a producer, shit ton of amazing records. Then we've got Vanessa LeMaistre, and she's pretty strange. I've done my research on her, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So this woman hits Metro Boomin with a nasty civil lawsuit. Back in October of 2024, the news broke that Metro Boomin was being accused of the R word by this woman in a new civil lawsuit. Really nasty allegations. Vanessa claims she became friends with Metro in 2016 and they bonded over music and he gained her trust. Eventually, he asked her to come to a studio session to watch him work. She took half a Xanax bar and accepted a shot of alcohol from Metro. She blacked out, couldn't remember shit, and woke up in a hotel room with Metro where she claims he took advantage of her. She said she remembers waking up at certain points, seeing him on top of her, but she couldn't move. She said she woke up the next day not knowing where she was, and Metro had a car lined up to bring her home. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happens when you mix benzodiazepines with alcohol. You are gonna black out. Like, this is not a secret. Vanessa also claimed that this sexual encounter with Metro caused her to become pregnant, and she went to the hospital and aborted the baby. And then 9 years later, boom, hits Metro with this lawsuit. One of the craziest allegations from Vanessa was when she claimed that lyrics in a 21 Savage track was evidence of the assault. Metro's not even a rapper, but like they're claiming that a record that he produced for 21 Savage had lyrics in it that resembled what happened to this woman.
She took a Xanax, and she fainted.
Look, out of all the rap lyrics that they've tried to introduce into like a court setting, like, this has to be the biggest fucking stretch yet. First off, these aren't even Metro's lyrics. This is what 21 Savage said. Metro only produced the beat, and there's a chance he wasn't even in the studio with 21 when this was recorded. Metro probably wasn't even anywhere near 21 when he even wrote this. No, I do like the hook, but I think if we add, like, you remember that girl I fucked a year ago, right? Put in, like, some stuff about Xannies and her fainting.
She took a Xanax, and she fainted.
The track literally has zero relevance with respect to the case, and I mean zero. And with that said, Metro was now facing two serious allegations, one being sexual battery and the other being gender violence. And of course, Metro's team denied everything. They claim Vanessa demanded money months prior and is now retaliating because Metro refused to pay. He refused to settle, and he wanted to have his day to fight in court. And he wasn't lying, because a few months later, both parties came together to try to come to some sort of agreement, but it didn't happen. And after this settlement didn't go through, people in the public were very quick to make claims that this meant Metro was guilty, and it's obvious they don't understand how mediations work in civil cases. In these types of cases, it's mandatory that both sides come together with a neutral person in the middle, which is a mediator, and they try to come to an agreement instead of going to trial. It is quite literally a formality. The way it works is like her team was probably like, okay, we want $3 million. It goes to him. He says, fuck no. It goes back to her team. Okay, well, we'll take $2 million. Goes back to him. Fuck no. So it goes back and forth for a while, and then it's clear at a particular point they're not coming to an agreement. But when people see that, you know, a settlement wasn't made, they kind of assume that, oh, Metro offered her something, but that's not always the case. Now, before we get to the trial, let's talk about Vanessa. I did my research, and let's get into what she's all about. Her bio of herself reads as follows. Vanessa's path has been unconventional, having overcome great adversities, years of childhood sexual assault, not having a father to protect her, and an ultimate lack of self-worth. She woke up at the age of 25, a lost soul, having dated a mix of men, including prominent celebrities who didn't respect her worth. So it seems like she had a pretty tough life, and, you know, she fell into like a party lifestyle. She's, you know, linking up with these celebrities, and then eventually she has like a spiritual awakening. Vanessa stumbled upon ayahuasca, which is a very powerful psychedelic, where some claim that it's beneficial for therapeutic reasons.
And how was your first session? Was it like extreme? Was it gentle? Amazing?
It was all of the above that you just mentioned. It was the most spiritual experience of my entire life, where I was getting premonitions, prophecies, and I had a lot of complexities around understanding that I was beautiful. And this night, it showed me who I was, what I need to do, and really started this process of coming into accepting myself.
Look, lady, I'll take your word for it, because anytime I did a psychedelic, I lost my fucking mind. So no, thank you. Anyways, it was after this ayahuasca trip where she completely becomes enamored in the ayahuasca community, where she becomes this holistic healer.
So my power animal, one of them is black bear, which I tattooed on my arm. So I'm listening to their guides. So if somebody who passed on in your family wants to come through, they know that I'm an open door. So they can come through with messages.
You know, this is my channel, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe any of that shit. I don't believe for 1 second that you can channel the dead to, like, share messages through a person. Like, no, I don't believe that. I think those people, what they do is they take advantage of vulnerable people who have lost family members, and they pay big money to go to these people. I don't believe it. So Vanessa goes full on into this thing. She becomes trained as an actual shaman. She writes a book, to which by all accounts wasn't what I would call a smash hit. And of course, she has a big presence online, because that is quite literally her business and how she makes money. If you're wondering why I keep bringing up the ayahuasca shit, it's because it comes up in the trial. On September 23rd, Metro Boomin strolled into the courtroom for the big trial. Vanessa will be the first to take the stand, and she testified pretty much the exact same story that we got when the lawsuit first broke. However, there were some new details, such as her revealing that when she finally woke up in the bed with Metro, she looked in the bathroom trash can to see if there was a condom, and the morning after, he sent her off in a car to be escorted home. And this is when the ayahuasca shit comes into play. Vanessa claimed the reason why it took so long to act on the situation was because during an ayahuasca trip in Peru, it was revealed to her that she needed to confront the assault. Look, to be fair, I know people do go into these ceremonies and they come out like with a whole new lease on life, and they do have revelations. Like, I do believe that does happen for some people. During her ayahuasca trip, Vanessa wrote a series of notes that she titled Plan Ayahuasca. In them, she documented her choice to sue Metro Boomin for $3.4 to $3.7 million in damages, and she outlined her strategy to make the case go viral by tagging Metro and 21 Savage on social media. A powerful revelation from the ayahuasca gods that can't be ignored. Metro's lawyers fired back, claiming that Vanessa was really just bent out of shape because after he had sex with her, he stopped giving her attention. His lawyer also stated that she was only in the courtroom because she thought suing Metro would solve her financial problems. Metro's lawyer's saying, like, look, this girl thought she was going to get a bag out of this. She didn't think this was going to go to court. She wanted a settlement. Now he called her bluff. Next, Metro's lawyers began to pick apart Vanessa's ayahuasca writings, calling it clear evidence of her greed, as she specified the exact amount of money that she was looking for. She also wrote on the ayahuasca notes that she specifically needed Cassie Ventura's attorney from when she got Diddy like that $20 million bag. Vanessa's attorney fired back, claiming that the note probably could have been written differently, but it was clear that she was processing trauma. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but like if it were me, I would probably reconsider using the ayahuasca notes as proof or evidence of anything in the trial, because I think it just makes her look worse. Vanessa's lawyer also brought up the fact that she used to date Lil Wayne and that she could have got lots of money out of him. So if she was really doing this for greed, why didn't she sue Lil Wayne? And I don't think that's a bad argument. She also brought up the fact that she sent Metro Boomin a text message where she asked him, "Did you wear a condom?" To which Metro said, yes, he did. Vanessa's lawyers jumped all over this because they claimed Metro's response was an admission of guilt, saying that if he knew she was awake at the time, he would have said, of course I wore a condom. Like, you remember, right? I don't think this is a good argument at all in like a real life context, because like Many of us have woke up the next day and been like, fuck, did I like wear a condom last night? Like, I better check my wallet. Is it in there? Okay. I think I did, you know? And if you're an overthinker like me, that means your next week is going to be pretty much hell. Is this a lump right here? I don't know, man. It's like itchy. Wait, like you're saying like the Q-tip you got there is going in my dick? Metro's lawyers then really started to go in on Vanessa. Remember, she claimed that she was pregnant with Metro's baby, but she had an abortion. Metro's lawyers started looking at the medical records from when she visited the abortion clinic. It was noticed that after she filed the lawsuit, Vanessa called into the clinic and tried to change the date that she said the baby was conceived. Basically, after she filed the lawsuit, she hits up the abortion clinic from 9 years ago and tells them, hey, can you change the date of when the baby was conceived? I think it's wrong. Metro's lawyers had a field day with this because not only did she deny being raped at the time of the visit to the clinic, but the dates didn't line up. This is called trying to pull a fast one, Metro's lawyer said. In this case, Miss LeMaistre is lying about everything. This was the craziest thing to me, where she called up the abortion clinic 9 years later and she was trying to change dates and shit. The next day, it was Metro's turn, and the first person that his attorneys had on the stand was a psychiatrist who sat down with Vanessa for 2 hours. This psychiatrist claimed that Vanessa had all the signs of borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and major depression disorder, and that none of these things appeared to be related to this alleged assault. The doctor pretty much said, like, look, this girl has a lot of issues. When Metro was on the stand, he went to great lengths to not only flat out deny the allegations with disgust on his face, but they dove into all the things that he does in charity to help actual victims of abuse. Metro's mom was murdered by her partner, right? So after that happened, I didn't know this about Metro, but he became very involved in charities and helping women who are really in domestic abuse situations. Vanessa's legal team brought up the 21 Savage record, and Metro said he had no part in writing any of those lyrics. I know that people say that I reach when it comes to lyrics, but like, this one takes the cake. From here, Metro Boomin's lawyers ripped apart Vanessa's story about how she dated Lil Wayne, insinuating that she lied about the whole thing. They brought up an article that was written by this random South African journalist from 2 years prior titled, "What's It Like Dating a Superstar?" Vanessa LeMaistre opens up about her relationship with rapper Lil Wayne. Isn't it true, Miss LeMaistre, that there's not one single photograph of you and Lil Wayne together? Yes, that's correct. And isn't it true that you have no text messages, Instagram messages, or emails with Lil Wayne? At this point in time, no, I do not. She made claims that Wayne wrote the track How to Love about her. Metro also claimed that when he first met Vanessa, she told him that Lil Wayne was the father of her son that just died. Yeah, we were in the studio and she told me she lost her child and that Lil Wayne was the father. Now, Vanessa denied this. She claimed that she never told Metro that. Vanessa essentially took her story to a very small blog outlet, claiming she dated Lil Wayne. But beyond her own words, there was no proof that she'd ever been in the same room as him, and Metro's legal team used this to chip away at her credibility. You don't have a single photo, not a text message, not a DM, like anything that proves that you were with Wayne at all? From here, Metro's lawyers kept pressing the issue, pointing out that Vanessa claimed she had told several therapists over the years about the alleged rape. Not one single person has been brought into this case to support her allegations. Where are all the therapists that she claims she told this to? Was this ever explained to you? She had zero people whatsoever to corroborate anything that she said. She was literally the only witness. And with all this information, a panel of 8 jurors went to decision, and after 1 hour of deliberation, Metro was deemed not guilty. One of the male jurors made a statement saying, "The evidence wasn't there. A lot of it was just testimony or talking about it. There was no substantial, this is what happened. There was no dates recollected correctly. She didn't remember a lot. That was also the issue." And although these circumstances aren't ideal, Metro walked out of this a happy man. With that said, I think it's pretty obvious what happened here. After the beef with Kendrick and Drake, due to Metro's involvement, the OVO community started digging up super old tweets, some that were so old that Metro was still in high school. These were tweets that were referenced in her initial lawsuit, and she even pointed out the OVO nickname for Metro, Metro Groomin'. These were all old tweets that they hoped to get in as evidence against them, but the court didn't allow it. So Metro was getting all this kickback online, and this is really the perfect time to strike. Vanessa likely saw this as a vulnerable moment for Metro, so she tried to get a check. Around that same time, she specifically saw that Cassie Ventura secured $20 million from Diddy over a settlement. Vanessa even went as far to write down in her ayahuasca notes that she specifically needed Cassie Ventura's lawyer to get $4 million out of Metro. But she didn't get the settlement she was hoping for, and now she's in this trial completely unprepared because she had zero facts. She was really hoping that those old tweets from Metro would be considered evidence in court, and they didn't allow it. She reached to the absolute moon and back to say that a 21 Savage song was about the assault. She provided absolutely zero evidence with respect to the rape itself. After 9 years, she hit up the abortion clinic to try to change dates. The whole entire trial stinks. You know, these are allegations that could have completely altered and destroyed his career, and even though he was proven innocent, there's still people who are going to bring this case up, so he's got to shake that part of it, right? But at least justice was served. You know, the outcome was the right one. And as far as the girl, I hope she gets the help that she needs.